Hey, what's up? It's Chris from Brooker Films, and in today's video, I'm talking time lapses. Time lapses are amazing. When done correctly, they look cinematic and can really help to show the passing of time in your films. Now, you can shoot a really basic time lapse by setting your camera to video mode, throwing it on a tripod, leaving it for 30 minutes, and just speeding it up in post. But the problem with this is it always looks amateur and you can always tell when you've done it this way. Plus, leaving your camera shooting video for 30 minutes non-stop is going to fill up a massive chunk of your SD card. So I would recommend using the following technique. Now, to understand how to shoot a time-lapse, you first need to understand the basics of how video works. Video is made up of 25 still images every single second. That's 30 if you're watching American TV. This is where the term frames per second comes from. Time lapses are made from shooting loads and loads of still images and stitching these together in the edit. So to make your time lapse look as good as possible, you're going to have to shoot 25 still images for just 1 second of video. For a 10-second time lapse, this does mean that you're going to have to shoot 250 still images. So what do you need to shoot a time lapse? Well, firstly, you need a camera. You need a tripod, and you need a time-lapse remote. Now, you can shoot a time-lapse without a remote, and I've done this many times myself, but this does mean that you're going to have to press the shutter button over 200 times, and this can get really tedious. If you leave your camera on automatic settings, then your camera will change settings every time it takes a new photo. And this means that there will be a horrible flicker on your time-lapse due to different exposures throughout all of the images of the time-lapse. So you want to make sure that your ISO, shutter speed, aperture, white balance is all manually set and locked off. Once you've set your camera to manual mode, you need to set your interval time. Now, the interval time is just the time in between each still photo, and it's important that this stays the same throughout the whole of the time-lapse. I typically choose an interval time of between 4 to 8 seconds, and this depends on how fast the cloud's moving or how much movement is within the frame. So once you've decided on the interval time, you're now free to start shooting. Now, the time-lapse itself can take anywhere between 10 minutes to several hours. It all just depends on your interval times and how long you want the time-lapse to run for. So once you've completed the time-lapse and you have all of your still images, you need to turn these from images into a video. So let's get these onto the computer and turn these into a time-lapse. So once we've loaded up Adobe Premiere Pro, we can go down to the import media to start. We'll press import and navigate to the images. So we're going to select the first image and go down to the options tab and make sure that image sequence is selected. This is going to insert all of these images and import them as one time-lapse video. And that's it. That's literally the time-lapse just imported there. So we're just going to double click this, right click this, whatever you're on, Mac or Windows, and we're going to start a new sequence from clip. Now, when I shot this time-lapse, I did not have my remote with me, so I had to do this by hand, which means when you watch through this, it looks a little bit shaky and a little bit bumpy. So to correct this, I would go down to the Effects tab and search for Warp Stabilizer. And you're just going to throw that on top of the time-lapse, and the computer is going to work its magic and smooth that out for you. So the next step is to actually import this into your project. So we need to create a new sequence. So we've got new sequence. And we're just going to make this a 1920 by 1080 sequence. Now we're just going to go over to our project bin and find the original time-lapse sequence, and we're just going to drag this into here, and we're going to make sure that we keep the existing settings. This is imported quite weirdly. It looks like it's just the top of the Houses of Parliament, but that's because cameras shoot in a much higher frame size than video cameras do. So we've actually got all of this room to play with. So we're just going to correct that by pulling the scale down to 34. And now the really good thing with this is we can actually add some digital zoom to this effect. This is always fun. So we're just going to go to the start of the time-lapse, position and scale. You want to keyframe this, and we're going to go all the way to the end. And then we're going to adjust the scale. I'm just going to change this to maybe 65. And we're just going to change the position over to the clock face, so the time-lapse zooms in on Big Ben's clock face. And if we watch this through, that's it. Beautiful time-lapse. And there you have it, a beautiful looking cinematic time-lapse. In a future episode, I'm going to talk about more advanced time-lapse techniques. This involves how to shoot RAW over JPEG images, how to color grade these properly, and how to shoot a hyperlapse. So if you would like to be notified on when these videos are online, then don't forget to press the subscribe button. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful at all, then please do let me know in the comment section below. I hope you have the most amazing day today, and I will see you next time.